Welcome back to Show Me What I've Been Missing, your pop culture podcast about the thing you should have watched when it came on, even if you were a child. Just kidding. I'm your host. I'm one of your hosts, Elizabeth Stanton, and I'm here with my other host.
Chris Mack.
And we've been revisiting Sex and the City.
Mm-hmm.
We are on season 2, episode 4. Four women.
Five.
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 Whoops.
Yes,
No.
ma'am.
Yes, five.
It's five.
Sorry. I'm mixed up
Five.
because I looked at the calendar that said we
Yeah.
recorded the other episode. So
We
this
are.
is, and you know what? The title is Four Women in a Funeral. So I thought, oh, how clever! They episode 4 has 4 in the title. No, I don't know how to read.
Don't worry. And when I initially wrote it down in my notes, I did say episode 4, and then I'll look back and I'll say, "Oh shit, it's episode 5." So I made that mistake today too, just not on camera.
So this is one this one gets played on cable a lot because there is no sex in it really.
Yeah, not really. I mean, it's implied sex, but it's mostly just like,
but yeah,
shirts are, everybody's covered up, and then it's like
it's PG-13. It's basic. It's basic cable safe sex.
Because even when Charlotte has sex with the guy, who we're about to talk about shortly, like it was
covered up.
The end of it, yeah. Like all he was really doing was just getting off of her. So it's not really.
And I feel like that's the piece they cut out anyway.
Right, exactly. And it's literally like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't even change. It wouldn't change the dynamic of the episode or anything that you learn from it. Okay, but first things first, I need to talk about.
Yep.
Because I don't know if this was a slip up. Mm-hmm. Or if this is real, but we finally learned Carrie's real name is not Carrie, it's Karen.
Wait, where'd you get that?
Miranda calls her Karen on the phone when she panic calls her.
No, she just says Carrie. It's not Karen.
It's Karen. She said Karen. She said Karen. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, she did, Elizabeth.
No, I'm sorry, bud. I'm sorry, it's not.
She said Carrie.
There's a whole prequel series called The Carrie Diaries, and she's still Carrie. It's just a mistake sounding, like it's.
I said, well, that's it. Maybe the actress herself said it wrong, and they just didn't catch it when they were doing the edit or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I swear to God, Elizabeth, she said Karen. She said it. Now that may not be her name, but she said Karen. I promise you. You have to go back and watch it. It's right after she calls her when she panics after she chokes, which is hilarious. Yeah. She calls her Karen. I promise.
No, she calls her Carrie. And that's it.
You just don't want her name to be Karen, but her name is Karen. Karen Bradshaw.
It's because it's not. It's not Karen. Trust me.
If her name is Karen,
I've watched this show.
It explains everything about her.
It would.
It would explain all the things.
It would, but I have watched this show 8 million times.
Okay.
I assure you, it's Carrie.
All right. I will take your word for it, but I swear I know I heard Karen. So maybe, like I said, it was the actress that said it wrong.
Yes.
And then they just like edited it, didn't catch it in the edit, which is clearly
totally possible.
100% possible. Yeah. I mean, shit gets lost, especially when you're doing shows like that and it's weekly shows, man. Like all kinds of shit gets jumbled up. I mean, there's gonna be mistakes there. I mean, look at Game of Thrones, one of the most biggest shows on TV. Fucking coffee cup in there, yeah. Starbucks even a big name, fucking coffee cup. It wasn't even just like a generic coffee cup. It was motherfucking Starbucks, the most recognizable cup of coffee on the planet. Right. So, but anyway, I just want to talk about that because I was like, if that is her name, it tells me everything in the world that I need to know about her. Like it explains all of her personality and all of her quirks and everything. Just
sadly, no.
All right, I'm gonna go back and watch and make sure I hear it right.
You better record it for me.
I will. I will.
To prove it, but
I'm sending it, and I'm gonna bring it on the next episode. I'm like, this is what she said. She said, Karen.
I disagree. This is the Yandy Laurel thing all over again.
Is it just blue and gold?
Yeah, this is just blue and black or white and gold.
Yeah. That shit was blue, right?
I saw white and gold, but if you it has to do with like your eyesight quality, I think too, and the angle. Because the weird thing was, if I squinted super, super, super tight, like almost eyes closed, I could see the black and blue. But when I just look at it direct, it's white and gold.
Yeah, weird.
It's a weird optical illusion. Anywho.
Yeah. All right, so we start out this episode. The ladies are at a funeral for a clothing designer named Javier, who apparently likes heroin,
Yes,
and
sadly.
sadly likes heroin. She said, and now I was wondering, maybe you. I feel like they were kind of like his storyline was kind of like a mixture between Basquiat and Versace.
Yes, I'm not super familiar with Basquiat's life, but did
Well,
he
he was
heroin addict?
an artist. He heroin, yeah.
Okay, then well,
heroin.
that answers all that.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally got like that element, and then the sister at the funeral was
right.
Like they say Donatella.
Yeah, they even mentioned Donatella. I was like, so they're trying to they're like mixing because they're both two famous New York artists. Like, Versace was from Italy, of course, but like his prominence came from being a New York fashion, and then Basquiat was also a New York artist, painter. Right. He was a painter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're trying to invoke.
But I have to admit I don't know much about him. But being a heroin addict and makes sad sense for an artist.
By the way, if you want to learn about Basquiat, there is a movie literally called Basquiat, and Jeffrey Wright plays the character, and he's fantastic.
God, that guy is such a good fucking actor.
Underrated, underused, like one of the best actors of this time. And he's in this movie in Basquiat, he kills it. Of course, just murders the movie, and you're like, oh, this is like it's so sad and great, and all the things mixed up. So anybody who's watching or listening out there, if you want to learn about Basquiat and you want to see good acting by Jeffrey Wright, watch the movie Basquiat. It's fantastic.
But yeah, I also in my notes wrote down Versace.
Yeah, because I was like, they're literally doing Versace right now. The only difference is he didn't get murdered. That's it.
It's Versace without the murder, so they can have more fun with it, I guess. I mean, it's not like fun in funeral, Chris.
I mean, it kind of did.
Yeah, I did think it was funny. So traditionally you wear black to a funeral,
right?
Or mostly black. But Samantha shows up in the designer outfit, which is all like light blue and white and stuff. And Carrie's like, and Carrie and Charlotte are like, that's really inappropriate. But then, of course, everybody's at the funeral in his designer clothes, which I do think makes a certain amount of sense. If it's, if you view funerals as like a celebration of life kind of thing, then it makes sense to
100%
his designs.
When Carrie was saying it to Samantha at first, I was like, yeah, I guess that is low-key kind of disrespectful. But like, then I thought about it, I was like, it's not really not. And then when they get to the funeral and everybody showed it, I was like, okay, it's like solidified that it's not, it's more honoring than wearing black at a funeral. Yeah. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I want to know who came up with black at a funeral. Why black? Why is black gotta be the funeral color? Like, white is neutral, white is pure, white is like a sign of new life, or like especially people who like believe in heaven and shit like that. Why isn't everywhere wearing white to funerals? Especially if you're a Christian, you should be wearing white, not black.
I watched actually something on Netflix called Worn Stories, and there was a young black woman whose grandma owned a soul food restaurant, and everybody wore white, or she wore white, and like her other fellow grandkids wore white, and she said that was a more like traditional Southern thing. I think because of what you're saying, like it's their new life, like they're the family continuing onward, so they don't need to wear black to be sad. It's because like you're still in a good mood. Hang on, I'm gonna Google black.
No, I'm just gonna say this while you're Googling. It's like, because to me, black is usually associated, unfortunately, the color black is usually associated with like evil or darkness and like the devil. So why would you wear well, everybody wearing black to your funeral is kind of like they're saying that, hey, you're going to hell. But if everybody's wearing white, I feel like they're implying, or at least for wishing that you make the journey to heaven if you believe in that kind of thing. So like, I don't know who decided was black, because black is it's a great color. Don't get me wrong, you can match it with everything, but like if we're celebrating if it's like a combination of somebody's life, it should be white or something fun, or like this funeral where everybody's wearing like blue and springtime colors, because spring is also a sign of new life and rebirth and all this other stuff. So that seems like those were very important.
Okay, I knew it. I should have said it before I finished Googling. I was like, it's the Victorians. That's why we do like 90% of the weird shit we do. So here's a real brief history. So
boring, stuffy ass Victorians, of course.
It technically started actually with the Romans. They would wear a darker colored toga while in mourning, but not necessarily black. I don't think they could dye fabric black at that point. Maybe they could.
So, yeah.
Then wearing black mourning clothing was a symbol of wealth in Europe in the Middle Ages. And mind you, these are all Western traditions.
Right.
We'll get to other cultures in 2 seconds. But then, yes, it comes down to our good, sweet Queen Victoria. When Albert died in 1861, she wore black only for the rest of her life. Then the British upper class aspired to be like the Queen and copied her clothing choices. And then black became standard throughout much of Western, society. So women used to wear black a full year following a husband's deaths.
I knew that, yeah.
Things like that. Let's see. White, as you mentioned, is worn by Buddhists and Hindus, and it's considered a symbol of purity in India and China. And then other countries, Thailand often wears purple, it says, yellow in Myanmar, and Egypt, and blue in Iran. So
Again, so right. I was like nail on the head at the fucking white at a funeral. Like, come on, that. And of course, the stuffy ass fucking Brits are like,
it's always the Victorians. It's always
so fucking
their fault. Why do you have to wear white at a wedding? Victorians. Why do you have to wear black at a funeral? Victorians.
Oh my god.
Why do we have such weird hang-ups about like sex and stuff? Victorians. Fun fact, why are we so into murder? Victorians.
Yeah,
they love
public
that
executions
weird
and shit, right?
They were so into the weird morbid stuff. It was nuts.
Yeah. That's so funny. That's probably why violence is so prevalent in our country, but sexuality is like, everybody's more scared of sexuality than they are violence. So that makes all the sense. It makes all the sense.
So Samantha was bucking Victorian tradition.
Fuck yeah. Samantha again.
As well she should.
Well, low key too. And I was like, and it was like kind of cool to see her like kind of get her savagery back after last episode. Cause she took a blow.
She took a hit to the old confidence. And this one, she was like, now it is a little déclassé to go to the funeral simply to network.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to bring that up because she did when she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna like donate money," and everybody's like, "Oh great, that's so great. You're like being selfless." She's like, "No, actually, I just need that email list so I can like have connections with all the big socialites." I was like, "Now, Samantha's back."
Yeah, our girl's back.
She's back.
back in force.
To be fair, yes, was she a little déclassé in doing that? Yes, but you know what? She put in a lot of charity work with dude with the small penis. So I'm gonna give her a pass on this one because she tried her hardest for 3 months with this guy, and of course the results still not positive, but still she fucking tried everything. So that's her charitable work for the year. I'm giving her a pass just on that alone.
Yeah, but then I do like that it spirals out of control. So she goes to one guy to get money for the charity. But then he's like, let's bang. And she's like, sounds good. And the guy's wife comes home. And they're in the uppity upper crust society who pull the strings so much that they get all 4 girls kicked out of a restaurant. Like they turned down the card, which you feel like the restaurant would want them to pay. So I guess they pay in cash. I saw Samantha throw down money, but it was still weird.
Yeah.
And then
that's the weird thing. It's like you reject my money, but then you still want me to pay. I'd be like, fuck that. If you're not taking my card, I got a free meal.
We're gonna dine and dash. Fuck it.
Yeah. Ain't even a dash. I'd be like, look, if you're not gonna take my credit card, that's all the currency I have. I'm gonna walk out of here. You can call the cops, but you refuse to.
Like, you're gonna treat me like trash. I'm gonna act like trash. And
exactly. And that's the thing too, because like, look, at the end of the day, if they call the cops and say they're trying to steal, you'd be like, no, I have
turned down the card.
Witnesses that said I gave her the card. She's like, your money's no good here.
Yeah.
So I left.
What
happened? That's what they did. That's this
the reality.
Yeah, they gave me a free meal essentially because I tried to pay for it. And I'm surprised to be like, well, technically, you didn't commit a crime.
Yeah.
See you later. Why are we here?
There's murders we could be solving.
Yes, exactly. But
like what happened to that guy's wife?
Well, yes, because Charlotte did meet. Of course, Charlotte would. She would meet a guy at a motherfucking cemetery. Like that would happen to her. Like if anybody else was going to do it, it had to be Charlotte. And I love. You know what? There's two things I loved about that. One, I love how she tried to like justify everything when they're in the camera. And she's like, no, it makes him more sweet. If anything, he's more romantic because he was that dedicated. And I love Samantha. She was like, or you could just marry a divorced guy because
everybody comes out alive. Yeah, that's my favorite joke. It was so funny.
I was like, but here's the thing. With that being a joke, she's not wrong because all the shit that Charlotte listed about like what makes this guy romantic and his wife being dead and shit like that, it's the same shit you could get from a guy who was divorced.
Yeah,
but you know what though? I guess the only difference is like you probably have a little less insecurity to worry about if the wife is dead
because she can't.
You won't see her again. You won't ever see her again. She's gone. She's in the ground.
Come back on the scene.
Right. You can't show up out of nowhere and be like, I'm fucking pregnant.
Yeah, like I'm ghost pregnant. And it's yours.
You gave me a ghost baby. It's half ghost, half human. He'll never sit in a chair ever.
Oh, it's half human, half ghost, all powerful.
I can't even breastfeed my baby ghost.
So yeah, but then he apparently like strings women along with this nonsense because he's like, I'm having a memorial, and all like 3 other women show up. Charlotte's the only one who storms off. I think I would have been like, oh my god, and like ran away too.
Yeah.
But this is why I think he's a murderer. I think he's got a type, he's got an MO, and he does how do we even know that grave he was standing at was really his wife's?
I was thinking that too. When they first, like, not even in the conclusion of their relationship, at the very beginning, I was like, I bet you we're gonna find out that wasn't really his wife. He just like stands there and like hooks up with women like when they come by.
Like he's got a picture in his wallet of like a really pretty lady, and like in his house, that could be fucking anybody.
That's what I'm saying. I can go to Google Images right now and pull up a picture of like, I can just type in like pretty wife, and I guarantee you, if I had a wife that like looks suitable to me, that somebody would believe that I married.
Sex Crimes in the City.
Sex Crimes in the City. We're back, baby.
Sex Crimes in the City is back.
Baby.
We're back on the case.
We're back, baby.
Ned the nuptial knifer.
Ned the nuptial. We're done. That's it. That's the headline.
Ned the nuptial
killer. His name was Ned. Come on, that's a murderer name I've never heard. I mean, Ned, Ted Bundy. Come on.
God forbid he and Barkley connect.
Oh my God, they probably know each other.
They probably are like
a serial killer, like a conglomerate.
Serial killer set up. It's going great.
Well, it's like a dark version of Wedding Crashers. It's like just like a serial killer. Like I was like, oh, how do you get your victims? Well, I pretend that I'm a dead wife and I'm mourning her and I'm at a grave, and then I get these girls. They come home with me. I murder them, and then I just rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Yeah, no one ever checks because we met at a graveyard.
Right. I mean, yeah, because
I almost said ghost house instead of graveyard.
I mean, you know, when there were a few things here, you can say a ghost house. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some, if ghosts exist, I'm pretty sure they walk around the graveyards, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they got to.
Sorry,
I was trying to figure out why they see their name on the gravestone. They're like, I didn't die. What are you talking about?
Anyway, we'll go, sorry, we should go back to Samantha though, because I cut us off before we finished her storyline of business. Because I like that she is gonna have to put in the physical labor at the house, but then she is saved by Leonardo DiCaprio, and
who I thought was gonna actually make an appearance. I was so happy when she said the name, but it wasn't. It was just...
I love that it's like just a silhouette in a hand.
I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. But like I was low-key hoping. But it was weird because like almost low-key, everybody in this episode eats a little crow. Like everybody tumbled in some experience, and I would say it's probably a tie between Samantha and Miranda as far as like who ate the most, because she was having some issues too because okay, let me ask you this before I even
Yeah, yeah.
say anything. Um, so Miranda buys an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a panic buy or an investment?
No, that was an investment
Okay.
because when we first see her looking at it and stuff, she's like happy and on board and wants to. It's like a next logical like financial adult move for
Mm,
her, I think, especially
uh-huh.
with her career and everything.
Sure.
Like I'm not in the market to buy. I'd like to be
Sure.
because it's just renting's not bad. I love the
Yeah.
place I'm in now. I just
Sure.
moved, but it'd be cool to like paint and like own, and then you can like build that sort of like I own a place, and so I can at least here in LA, it's like theoretically the next logical thing I could buy would be a condo, like not a full on house. Because
Yeah.
even like falling down shacks here are like $1 million. Because
Yeah.
this housing market is fucked.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I could get a condo theoretically.
Sure.
Like my friend who has like a similar career track to me, she bought a condo. Actually, two friends bought condos within the past few years and things like
Mm,
that. So is that going to be like their forever home? Probably not. Like if they met someone or wanted to move, they could always sell and go on. So yeah,
right.
it's not a panic buy at all. It's
Okay.
like that's an investment thing. And I mean, if she wanted to retire, she could probably sell that New York apartment and move to the country one day
Sure. Yeah.
for like a huge
Probably
profit.
double what she paid for it
Yeah,
eventually, depending on how long she keeps it. Like she keeps it like 10 or 15 good years, like it'll
yeah.
probably increase in value. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, because like it was weird. I was reason why I was asking that is because like I don't know. I don't know what. At least maybe it's just the last couple episodes, so maybe I'm just feeling this way. But it's like, what's up with this show and being single? They make it seem like you're the most disgusting,
Yeah,
useless, like saddest, whatever, like all the negative things you can think of, to all the negative adjectives. Like if you're single, you are that, and I'm so sick of it. I'm like, why is it making it seem like? I mean, because it makes me wonder. It's like,
because
do women feel this way when they're single? Do they really?
yes and no. Like
Okay.
a big part of me is very much like Miranda, where I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I want to own my own shit, run my own show. But part of me is also like, God damn it, it would be nice if someone was in there when I came home. Like,
Right.
wanting to be with someone is a very natural human thing. It's not like
Yes.
you know, and yeah, as people point out with the pandemic and everybody having to isolate, it is we are social creatures. It is bad for us to be alone and
Mm-hmm.
separated for as long as we've had to be.
Yeah.
Um, but I think where the show falters is insisting that that loneliness can only be cured by a romantic relationship,
Yes.
because it is interesting at the end of the episode when she is finally happy in the apartment over the panic attacks.
Mm,
One of the first things she takes out and puts on the mantle is a picture of her and the girls,
right.
which, and this is not quite where, but the show will start to pivot a little more into like, the best relationships can be friendships,
Yeah.
and
I mean, I
and
think they are.
and those
Period.
can fulfill,
Yeah.
solve the loneliness issue,
Yeah.
you know, if like if you want them to,
Absolutely.
and they make some jabs at that throughout the series. Ultimately, I don't know if they really succeed in
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but in making that point, rather, as you'll see as we go on. But yeah, I mean, look, am I like happy to chill in my place by myself and all those good things? Of course, but like, definitely part of me is like, man, some things in life would be fucking easier and
Mm,
nicer if I had someone, a fella, to
right. Sure.
tag team shit with.
All right.
And that makes it. I don't even mean just practical, but just like, yeah, like a
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
legit relationship companionship
No, I get exactly what
type
you're
of
saying.
thing.
No, and I totally, and I agree with that. I just like this show just makes it seem
Yeah.
like you're like the worst human being. Like you should be like literally last episode. It makes it seem like you should be walked out to a field and shot in the
It's
back of the
yeah, you're going to be shipped off the island of Manhattan
head.
on an
Yeah.
ice floe to die in the Atlantic. And that's very much a societal thing that is
Mm,
finally slowly starting to change at a really glacial pace. I actually think there are two movies that do a kind of a great job of saying you don't need to do that,
mm,
and I think they don't get a lot of credit. I think they get written off as women's movies, but they are How to Be Single
Okay, never seen
with
it.
Dakota Johnson and Rebel Wilson and stuff. And spoiler alert, they end with her being single, and it
Oh,
was really about like being in a relationship with yourself and things like that. And
yeah.
I thought, I went into that movie with super low expectations when I saw it with friends, and we walked out. And we are like, that was actually really better than we thought it would be. and it's like there's like people do get coupled off, but like Dakota Johnson is the main character, goes through these different relationships and things, and trying to figure everything out, and then kind of discovers that like, maybe she doesn't have to settle down right now, because she is like also in her early to mid 20s in the movie, so it's like you don't have to be locked into things that you don't want to be at that age, especially, or at any age. And then the other movie is Someone Great, which is on Netflix, and with Gina Rodriguez.
I don't fuck with Gina Rodriguez, but I feel you.
Oh no, really?
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about Oscar.
It's a good movie though; it's worth it.
but she fucked. She done some things. Yeah, we'll talk about.
I kind of know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. You probably know what I'm
talking
about. She's done some things that like I ain't really feeling her on, and
I feel you. But
it
is a good movie.
I can watch things objectively, because like her as a person and her as an actress are two
separate things. Yeah. But that's another one where she goes through a big breakup and thinks about with Lakeith Stanfield, actually, who I was so excited. I love him. He's so
interesting. He's a good actor. Yeah. You seen The Photograph?
No, not yet.
It's great in that.
Yeah.
Yes, him and Issa Rae are in that. They play a couple. It's really good.
I love that.
Anyway.
So Someone Great is about, you think, again, kind of a spoiler, you think she's going to go back to Lakeith or try to be in a relationship again, and it is more about like her character is going to move across the country for a job and goes through the breakup kind of just before that, and she doesn't end up coupled up, and it's kind of one of the best parts of the movie. It's great.
Yeah,
like
great.
It's and so like, but that's like 2 movies out of how many that are like, you must end up in a couple.
Even the ones that like they make it seem like it's all about being single and being with your friends. Everybody ends up in
Everybody
a couple
gets coupled
anyway.
up.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, because that kind of brings me to a point of something that Charlotte said.
Oh yeah.
By there at lunch, she says that like, her buying a house was like a bad thing because no man wants a woman that's too successful. I do not agree with that one bit. Any real man who's working on his shit, like only men who are intimidated by that are men who aren't confident in what they're doing, or they're not happy in what they're doing. But any real man is like, oh, you got a house,
or who will happily take advantage of that,
or will happily take advantage. Because at the end of the day, if I don't have a home and I want a home and you already have one, I can just move in with you. And hopefully where things work out and we stay together or whatever. But at least for the time being that we're together, I have a home. Secondly, to me personally, if I see a woman who has bought a house, I know that's a woman who knows how to use her money. She's not out here buying a bunch of purses and necklaces and jewelry and shit that she don't fucking need. She's investing her money the proper way. And
some of those things could be investments.
Some of those things could be investments. Purses, because you can resell them shits and shit like that. But I'm like,
I know what you mean.
And jewelry as well can technically be an investment, but you know what I mean. Like
often when people are spending tons of money on that stuff, they are not buying the actual investment pieces.
Right. And also too, if you're spending a bunch of money on like purses and jewelry instead of like buying a house, that tells me also what kind of person you would be if me and you were to get married. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to me, a woman who's invested money into like buying a house or an apartment or a condo, like owning something, that to me is a good thing to look forward to, because that means if I make a little money, I'm not going to lose it all trying to like keep up with this person's lifestyle of like, I got to be draped in like the finest things.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of the Victorians, Samantha calls her out and be like, oh, somebody order a Victorian? Because, this is where Charlotte's really retrograde ideas.
100% she did. I totally forgot about that line. That's great.
This is where Charlotte's retrograde ideas really rear their ugly head.
Yeah.
And and then that was very much of that era, though, still, with the rules and everything, where it's like, you cannot outshine
a man,
the guy. You cannot outshine your man. Yeah. And that was what we said. I said it the last thing. thing about my mom being like, "Oh, you're a good homemaker," and I was like, "Go
Right.
tell people." She's like, "No."
Right.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too, because that's the thing too, because like, especially if you go back to back then, like in Victorian times, like if you saw a woman that owned a house, it's usually because she was a widow, or
mm-hmm.
because like it was given passed down to her through family. But like you didn't see women
Well,
buying houses and shit like that back in the day, mostly because they couldn't, because most women couldn't work. It was like
most women couldn't work,
illegal.
and most like there were laws, not or if not a law barring women,
Mhm.
there was no law precedent allowing women to own
Right.
property in
Right.
many places. That's what I was trying to look up before we started, but it was kind of
Mhm.
like too much state by state, and so it kind of
Right. Right.
varied too much. But it, kind of well, actually a lot of it. What I was glancing through was you couldn't until about the 1800s like own
There
a
we
place
go.
outright if you were a woman. And it also reminded me too, as she's going through the mortgage thing, they never explain why she has to keep checking single woman. But I part of me wondered if it was a relic from women used to not be able to have credit cards outside of marriage until the 70s.
Well, he did, because he did
You
ask. He
can
was
thank
like the down
RBG
payment.
for that.
Oh yeah. Well, he did ask, because that dude did ask. He was like, is your dad? He's like, the down
Right.
payment, is that coming from your dad? So like maybe that was part of what
It
you know.
might have been, yeah, like because was 99 we established. So I'd have to like dig in on like credit law in New
Yeah.
York in the 90s, and I don't want to. So, but it just pinged in my brain that it reminded me of the fact that until the 1970s, and a case Ruth Bader Ginsburg
Yeah.
argued, or I think ruled on, I
Uh-huh.
forget which. Yeah, if I wanted right now as a single woman to get a credit card, but I lived in the 60s, couldn't get one.
Wow.
Yeah, or I could only get one if I had a husband who approved it and allowed me to.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Wow. Wow. I
Excuse
know. I know. No.
me while I go
But that's
scream into a pillow.
and that's the thing is too, is like I mean, she's not like, because that's the thing too, that's kind of I guess the good and bad thing about Charlotte, because she's a mixture of different things. Because she will say something like that, but then she will talk about some like freaky nasty shit on the
Yeah.
low, like being
Which is very
innocent.
Victorian, because they were like
Yeah.
all uptight and weird, but also like freaky shit at the same
Yeah,
time.
because they're all pent up. When you're that
Yeah.
pent up, you're gonna become like the biggest freak on the planet. Like she probably likes to be choked and shit like that. She probably, like, if a guy did it, she'd freak out. But I think low key she would probably be
Like,
into it.
I can't believe he choked me, but I kind of liked it.
Right, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. She's that person.
Yeah.
And she's probably like, and that's the thing, like it hasn't been introduced to her yet, so she doesn't know she likes it. But if some guy introduced it to her, she would be weirded out first, and then she'd go up and tell the girls, and then Samantha would be like, "Bitch, get choked. What are you talking about? Like, you might
Yes,
like
I
it."
get choked all the
Yeah,
time. It's
exactly.
fabulous.
It's fabulous. That's the orgasm I've ever had. And then she'll go back and try it, and then she'll be like, "I don't
Yeah.
want to have sex with anybody who won't choke me." That's
Yeah.
gonna be her new thing. That's how it always is. That's her pattern every single time. She tries it, freaks her out, talks to the girls. They say go for it, which Samantha
like,
can always. We talked about last episode. Always gassing her up, saying, "Do your thing, have fun." She gets that permission, that go ahead, and Charlotte doesn't. And she's like, I want this forever."
Yeah. And I also sympathize with Miranda on a couple counts in this case, because one, the realtor didn't tell her that the previous owner died in the apartment.
Yeah, isn't that illegal? Don't they have to?
Yeah,
tell
you are
that?
supposed. As far as I know, I think you are supposed to
It's by
disclose
law, right?
if somebody died in the
Yeah.
apartment.
I mean, I don't know if 1999 was a different time, but I'm pretty sure. I know for sure now a realtor is supposed to tell you if any kind of violence or a tragedy occurred in the house, whether it be somebody passing away or a murder,
right?
Or somebody got shot or something. Whatever happens, you're supposed to be disclosed.
And I also, ever since I saw Rosemary's Baby, I don't trust old neighbors just showing up at your apartment talking to you, because that's how you fucking get impregnated by the devil. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not fucking with that. No, thank you. Because so then they tell her the cat ate half of her face.
Yeah, that was wild.
Don't overfeed your cat, by the way. They will get chubby. It's not good for them. I have to stop
Miranda poured that fucking entire bag of cat food.
He had at the end of that episode, he had 2 bowls filled with cat food.
Overflowing bowls.
That cat is gonna be. You ever see that cat named like Cinderblock who had to walk on the water in the treadmill? Yeah, that's where that cat's headed if she's not careful.
Dude, she's like, you ain't eating my motherfucking face. Fuck that.
You can buy a feeder that's got a lot of food that is on a timer and will drop food when it's supposed to. So don't worry, you can do that. And then also when she keeps getting called out as single and the mortgage stuff and everything else. This is so dumb. So I went to something with my friend to score her and her now husband like cheap wedding rings, but it was like a timeshare presentation, but it was actually about like pots and pans, and the guy was like a Martin Short character, so we could not stop laughing. But I had to fill out something, and so I was on one of those like call lists for a while, and I marked it single, obviously, and then they called. And the woman kept going, but you're single, right? Single? And she just wouldn't stop calling me single over the phone. And I was like, I finally was like, you could stop bringing that up. Like, and I never, ever thought I'd get to that point. But she was like driving that knife in like a maniac.
She's like stabbing you with it.
Because they want
you're single.
Yeah, they want you to be in a couple from those things usually. I think they get more money, or that's how they book the what is ultimately a scam situation. But I was like, please stop stabbing me.
She just hit you with a little jab. She's like, you're single.
Please stop.
No, you know what? And that's the thing too. Like, she was freaking out, but also too, like, people were being low-key disrespectful in the sense of like every time, especially the mortgage guy, he was like,
super disrespectful all across the board.
All right, well, Mark's single woman right here. It's like, all right, take it easy, my guy.
Yeah,
she's single.
Yeah. And then have I choked on any food while I've lived alone? I've come close. Not so bad I had to give myself the Heimlich, but definitely like whew,
fuck that. You know what? This is karma for what you did to Skip, because we still ain't heard from him. It is episode 5, and we still ain't heard from Skip, and I'm sick of it. This is what.
Oh well, she was in her old apartment. She was in her old apartment when she almost choked. I was gonna be like, the ghost of the lady that died is like, you should have stayed with Skipper. Choking her from the
You're a bitch. Like, fucking die.
You had a shot to not live my life, and you fucking blew it. Because you strung that simp along. That's not a ghost from the future, and I know the word simp.
Well, ghosts can travel through time. We know
that's
this.
True.
That's true. They transcend time. So that leads us to the big show.
Guess who's back?
Mr. Big and Carrie. She calls him out of nowhere.
Nowhere. Having the existential dread from the funeral and questioning like, how much time do we have left on this earth? Well, fucking more time than you should be giving Big, obviously.
Right. Yeah. Or more time than you want to give him. So I don't know, because she says now, is she talking about? Because she says after they get off the phone, she was like, they're rekindling a relationship that took 6 months to die. Now, is she talking about the breakup or their actual relationship?
I think their actual relationship, because I think like the first 2 months were good, and then I think it was all rocky and weird.
But see, now
that's a good question.
Because
but he was at her birthday. So when was her birthday?
Well, no, because at that point of when they, if I'm not incorrect, at the point when we start the season, it had been like almost a few good months, like 4 or 5 good months, and then like right around time when she accidentally invited him to her birthday party, I think that was also 6 months.
Yeah, okay.
But I also think that their relationship was only 6 months as well. Or no,
it was 8 months.
8 months. 8 months. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because I'm about to say, because if you were saying 6 months, what the relationship it was, like how long it lasted, then that ultimatum she hit him with was completely absurd at 6 months. If it was 6 months. I mean, even at 8, it's still absurd. But like at 6, come on, bro. You got to tell me I'm the one, or we got to break up. Like that's insane.
Yeah, no,
I don't say that until like if I would say the only time you hit somebody with an ultimatum like that is if you've been together for like 2 or more years. Because after that, you've been together long enough to know if you're gonna be with this person forever, like for sure, or if you want at least want to be with this person forever. That's So yeah,
but I think
months, so he says
maybe 6 months for her to like fully get over it, and then the funeral happens, and she's like, oh, I can't die alone. But that's weird because like. Javier, maybe he was single. I don't know, but but it just pushed through all the wrong buttons in her brain.
All right, I'm gonna say something that you're not expecting. I actually kind of like that rekindling of their relationship. It was super cute. It was super cute. I was like, all right, if this is how they get back together, I'm okay with this. I'm still not a fan of Big entirely, but like. They were adorable in this episode. I fucked with like the bowling and everything.
Oh my god, the bullying! Oh, I love.
It was super cute.
I love a bullying date. I laughed so hard when she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take him to the like most unsexy place I can think of," and I'm like,
"It's not sexy. It's not. I don't think about fucking when I'm at a bowling alley, but it is fun. But it is fun, and you can be super cute there.
You can be so flirty cute there.
Yeah,
like it's out of control. Like, come on, teasing each other. Teaching each other how to bowl, or you stand behind somebody. Come on, of course.
Yeah,
it's not sexy, but God, is it cute and flirty, and
which can lead to sex.
And so that's why I thought it was so funny. She's like, "It's the least sexy place," and I was like, "Well, yes, technically, but also, you like steered the car right onto the sex express highway."
Well, and then shortly later they're end up in somebody's bed. They didn't say whose apartment, but they basically So like. Clearly, it wasn't the least sexy place because it led to them banging out. So
I did, and I also laughed. So because she was asking him like the life after death questions.
Yeah.
And she said she believes in reincarnation. He's like, "What are you gonna come back as?" And she's like, "Somebody who knows better." And I was like, "Yeah, you're done."
Well, you know what? To be fair, she did. She put up a pretty decent resistance because I thought she was gonna sleep with him the first night.
She really pumped the brakes on that.
She was like, "Nope, I gotta go. We're not doing this again." She like, I mean, part of it, I don't know if it was necessarily her knowing something or like feeling something other than like just her big, or maybe it's just like her usual neurotic self panicking over like overthinking a situation, but also it could just be a mixture of both. Maybe she is maturing a little bit and knows that like if they're gonna get back together, it needs to be a slow process, not a
not immediately into bed.
Right, which still ended up that way, but
I also laughed.
She tried.
I also laughed at Big's idea of heaven as a giant bed.
I mean,
because of course it is.
Look, to be honest with you, let's be honest. That's not too far-fetched of an idea of heaven. A nice, soft, good sheet bed with like you get to watch TV and eat all the food that you want to eat and never have to get up to like pee or anything. That's heaven to me. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's good. I almost bought a couch it would have been way too big for it, but it was like one of the like not too soft, just the right amount of firm, like big squishy couch. And I was like, oh, I want this, but it was gonna be like too big.
Yeah.
And look goofy in here, which is like kind of a shame, but that's okay. Yeah. I can't buy too comfy a couch. I'll never fucking get off it and get anything done.
That's why I'm here. I like that too, because all my friends are like, bro, you got to get a PS4 or you got to get the new PlayStation, you got to get the new Xbox. I'm like, look, I know what happens to me when I have video games, and I know I'll never do anything but because like I'm one of those kind of people. Once I start a video game, my goal is to finish that video game,
right?
And so like once I get into it, I'm really into it. I don't stop playing it. Like I'll wake up, eat some breakfast, play the game, and play it all day. Probably not eat anything until like late as fucking night, and then wake up and do it all again. Like I'm just one of those people that dives 100% into a video game. That's why like I just leave it alone. I'm like, nope, I don't need it. Like my roommates have them. I play them from time to time, but like I know what I'll do if I have one myself.
That's good discipline,
Yeah. It sucks though because I miss video games.
Yeah.
I do.
I don't have that discipline with TV. I will fall in like if there's like either a good marathon of something or a movie on that I really like.
Yeah.
Look, if Goodfellas is on, day's ruined.
Watching it.
If I was gonna do shit that day, not anymore. It's time to watch Goodfellas.
Like nope, 2 hours. There goes 2.5 hours of my life right there. Because
three if it's on cable with commercials. There's no dice.
No, it's almost 4.
Oh, it's almost 4. Yeah,
it's
right,
almost 4 because
4.
like they cut out things and then add some things in, and then the commercials make it even longer. It's like a long. It's a full day.
It's a full
whatever you was about to do in 2 hours, it's done if you decide to watch
it. Like, oh, were you gonna do laundry? Sorry, Goodfellas is on.
Goodfellas is on.
Have I seen Goodfellas 8,000 times? Yeah.
But does it get better every time you watch it? Also,
yes.
Yeah.
Because actually, it was the first thing I watched in this apartment because like my internet stuff was like I think set up but not quite working. Whatever. I just needed to put on something while I was like doing some unpacking.
Yeah.
And I decided to throw that on from my DVD collection.
Right.
And I realized the last day sequence where he's like, I had to go to Jimmy's, keep stirring the sauce, all that. Yeah. I'm like, that's exactly what moving's like, except you're not high on cocaine.
Yeah. But I guarantee you, if you was moving how you were high on cocaine, you would have moved the shit.
I would have been stood so much faster.
You would have been done in 2 hours max.
Yeah, I would have gotten the old place cleaned out like in record time. I've been like, all right, now I can go back to Jimmy's.
Exactly.
Get the silencers. There's helicopters everywhere.
Man. They're falling. No, I love it too. Don't get me wrong. Oh, by the way, I like this little pun. Actually, 2 things I want to point out, which I thought just like, I guess me just being me. So when not Miranda, when Charlotte goes on a date with the widower, he like starts crying. Did you notice that he blew his nose into the napkin and wiped his eyes with that same napkin?
Ew, no.
I was like, and they start making out. I was like, ew, white people are gross. They're so gross. White people are nasty. Because like he literally blew his nose, wiped his eyes, and she was like turned on by his vulnerability or
other way around.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be ecologically conscious and only use one
wipe your eyes, blow your nose, throw that away.
Yeah.
Like, and then she used to make it out with him, and like she was all over his face. I'm like, he just snotted and wiped it all. Like, ugh, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, Charlotte? Are you really that desperate? Jesus Christ. It was so nasty. I was like, I know that's probably just something that I give a fuck about. Like, probably nobody else watching it noticed that, but like, I noticed it because I'm like, that's nasty.
Yeah, no, it's a fair assessment because that's disgusting. Disgusting.
Also, I like the pun they use for it was Carrie that said it, her narration after Charlotte and the widower have sex. She's like, oh, he came back to life. I was like, oh, I love it. The puns are back. They haven't had a good one in a while.
Yeah,
it's back. She's like, apparently twice in one night. I was like,
yeah, whenever you catch that stuff, you're always like, ha! Like, it tickles your funny bone.
It tickled me. I enjoyed it. I'm not even gonna pretend that I didn't enjoy that pun. Like it was a cheesy and corny, 100%. But did it make me laugh? Absolutely.
the punnery will get more intense as the season or series goes on.
I'm here for it.
It's definitely one of those, like when she asks those questions in the column where she's like, are we doing blank or being blanked? People make fun of that. It's like such a meme now where it's like, I couldn't help but wonder, was I facing my own pandemic of singleness? Like that's like the kind of shit people make fun of.
That's great. Oh man. Yeah, this was a good episode. That's the thing too, is like to go back to Carrie and Big, like their interaction in this episode actually kind of made me want to see them get together. I hate to admit, but I did. I was like, oh, I hope this works out this time. At the end of the episode,
because he was really clearly into her,
right? But that's the thing too. It's like that's the thing about it was like there was never, other than like the beginning of the relationship where they were like kind of playing this, like he seemed like he was trying to play like this power dynamic with her, which is super toxic, but also people do that in general. But like even with that, but barring that whole aspect of it, but after that, when they started really getting to the love of their relationship, I never felt like he wasn't really into her. I never felt like she was just like a side piece or whatever. You know
for sure, yeah.
Like I said, only then like the power tripping thing, and then like when he was dating other women at the beginning, but that was all the beginning. That was like the first 2 months. I mean, that's not great behavior. It's not really acceptable, but it's understandable because you're just starting a relationship. But like towards the end, I never felt that he didn't want her. And literally the only way they broke up is because like she had this like crazy ultimatum that she threw at him, and like because of her own insecurities and shit like that. So like they really should have never broke up. She kind of broke up because she was just in panic mode
Yeah,
for
yeah.
some reason. You know what I mean? Like, and then he didn't send her into panic mode. Like, she sent herself. She saw him at the fucking at church with an older lady and immediately assumed that he was like fucking her.
Yeah,
like, take it.
That's
like,
got some insecurities in that relationship.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Then
sure.
after she realized that it was a mom, she like got jealous because like she didn't get to meet the mom. It's like, dude, chill. We just like
we're 8 months in, man.
Yes, like
slow your roll a little.
Slow it down. Like,
yeah.
But, you know, if they were like a year and a half in, almost 2 years, and she ain't met the mom or any of his other friends or some shit like that, yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, but not 8 months. Take it down. So, yeah, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm pretty sure in the next episode they'll probably be broken up, but it's okay.
Potentially,
I'm
yeah,
still okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm still okay with how they got together. They was super cute, and again, Big is winning me over. I hate to admit it, but
we are on the second hill of this roller coaster, friend.
This is true.
We are on the fun part.
This is true. I'm sure I'll go back to
you're going up.
I'm just saying. Well, here's the thing. When you start out where he started out with me, you know, the fact that he's building up from that is still pretty amazing. Because he started out like underneath the earth, like down there where the lava is in the center of the earth, and he's built his way at least to like the surface now. So hey, I'm looking forward to seeing the transition.
Yeah.
But that's all I had as far as my notes and stuff like that. I
think I had that's everything for me as well. Yeah, it's a fun one. This is one I've definitely seen a lot. Like I said, on cable.
Yeah. I can see that being like a TNT or a TV.
Yeah, this is a safe one for the cable.
Oh yeah, and it's a good one too because this is like kind of teaches you some things as far as like being an adult and like that transition of like, you know, trying to move on, but also like not trying to do it too fast and not rushing your life and like enjoying the moments of like what you really have, and also just like not lying to yourself because like it was a lot of that was like a lot of the stuff that got these girls into trouble in this episode was like them kind of lying themselves and fooling themselves into believing that like these are things that they were like trying to have and want, but it really wasn't, you know.
Yeah. I think except Miranda, because she really wanted the apartment. She wanted to move there, and she only got tripped up when people kept questioning her.
Yes. That was another. That's still another lesson you learned was like to stay with your convictions.
Yeah, be confident in your choices. Yeah,
right. Don't let people sway you from what you did. You went and looked at this house. You wanted this house. Be proud of it. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't be proud of it. Rather be your friend or strangers.
And remember, you have friends who will notice if you die before the cat eats your face. So don't worry.
Absolutely. Especially Miranda. You're gonna be fine, Miranda.
You'll be fine.
You're not gonna die alone. There's no possible way. If nobody else is gonna be there with you, at least Carrie's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Or maybe even Samantha, because low key Samantha is like the most down to like keeping women.
She'd yank that cat right off your face.
Right off your face. She'd probably eat the cat for you. You know, just to let him know that he ain't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
All right. So that being said, where can they find us, Elizabeth?
They can find us on the easiest, fastest way is to go to Instagram at ShowMeWhatPod, and that will take you to all the other versions of our social media, Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. And you can find me individually on Twitter and Instagram at Elizabeth Movies. Where can they find you, Chris?
You can find me at Mack Diddy Combs. That's MackDiddyCombs on all platforms. And that's also my Venmo. That's also my Cash App. If you guys want to send us a little some, you know, no big deal. I'm not saying you have to, but like if you really want to show that you're a fan, maybe send me like $5. It would change my entire life, but no big deal. Also, be sure to go to Arlo Australia on Instagram. It's ARLO_Australia. My friend is doing 3 candles for $30. They are soy-free wax and they are lead-free candle wicks, and they burn for at least a month. So you're getting 3 months for $30, and they smell amazing. And all of her materials are organically sourced from Australia, so you are getting literally authentic Australian made candles. And my friend is also Aussie, so it's a full on authentic experience. So make sure you go
Day.
underscore Australia on Instagram. Get some candles; they smell amazing.
Sounds good. Well, we'll see you or hear you, or you'll see or hear us
Yeah,
next
yeah,
time.
you'll see us. All right, latest.